The emergency transmission arrived at the Galactic Federation Council chamber at exactly midnight. Ambassador Hal, a tall and thin being with pale blue skin and four nervous eyes, nearly dropped his ceremonial staff when he saw the footage. His two hearts began beating so fast that his medical implant sent him a warning signal. He ignored it completely. What he was watching on the screen was far more important than his own health. The video showed human soldiers walking calmly through a battlefield, but they were not alone. Beside each soldier walked a creature that made Hal want to scream. These were not machines. These were not robots. These were living, breathing monsters from the nightmare planet called Earth. Hal immediately called an emergency meeting of all Federation species. Within 1 hour, representatives from 47 different civilizations gathered in the Great Hall. Their faces showed the same terror that Hal felt in his three stomachs. "Fellow beings of the Federation," Hal began, his voice shaking slightly, "we have made a terrible mistake. When we accepted humans into our alliance, we believed we understood them. We were wrong. We were so very wrong." He activated the holographic display. The images that appeared made several ambassadors faint immediately. Medical drones rushed to help them, but most beings in the room could not look away from the horror before them. The footage showed a human military base on the colony world of 442b. Human soldiers were preparing for a mission against the raiders who had been attacking Federation supply lines. But these soldiers had brought something with them from Earth. Something that should not exist in a civilized galaxy. Dogs, wolves, big cats, bears, even creatures the humans called honey badgers. The humans had brought death incarnate from their cursed planet and turned these monsters into weapons of war. "Observe carefully," Hal said, his voice barely a whisper now. "Watch how the humans interact with these creatures." The hologram showed a young human female soldier sitting on the ground. Beside her sat a massive four-legged beast with sharp teeth and golden fur. The creature was called a German Shepherd, according to Federation databases. It weighed nearly 40 kilograms and had jaws that could crush bone. And the human was rubbing its belly. The deadly creature was lying on its back, its tongue hanging out, making sounds of pleasure while the human scratched its stomach. Other soldiers walked past them, completely unconcerned that a killing machine was right there among them. "By the ancient stars," whispered Ambassador from the Crystalline Collective, "she is touching the beast. It could kill her in seconds. Why does she not fear it?" The footage continued. It showed human soldiers sharing their food with these creatures. It showed them sleeping next to the beasts, their faces pressed against fur that covered muscles designed for hunting and killing. It showed humans talking to the animals, calling them names like good boy and buddy and sweetheart. The most disturbing part came next. A human male soldier was crying. He had just received news that someone in his family had died. The creature beside him, a large black wolf-dog hybrid, pressed its head against the human's chest. The soldier wrapped his arms around the beast and buried his face in its fur. The animal did not attack. It did not bite. It simply stood there, letting the human seek comfort from its presence. Its tail moved slowly back and forth. "They have formed emotional bonds with these predators," Hal explained. "The humans do not see them as weapons. They see them as friends, as family members. They love these creatures, and the creatures appear to love them back." Ambassador from the Hive Collective stood up, his body trembling. "This is impossible. Our scientists studied Earth for decades before first contact. We classified every large predator on that planet as extremely dangerous. These animals hunt and kill other creatures to survive. How can they form bonds with another species?" The Federation's chief scientist, a small gray being named Doctor, stepped forward to answer. "We asked the same question. We researched human history extensively. What we found was even more disturbing than what you see in this footage." Doctor activated a new set of images. These showed ancient Earth, thousands of years in the past. Humans began forming bonds with wolves approximately 15,000 years ago. At that time, both species were competing predators. They should have been enemies. Instead, they became partners. The wolves that were friendlier toward humans survived better because humans shared food with them. Over generations, these wolves changed. They became what humans now call dogs. The images showed the evolution of wolves into thousands of different dog breeds. Tiny ones, huge ones, dogs with flat faces, dogs with long noses, dogs bred for hunting, herding, guarding, and simply for providing companionship. Humans did not stop with wolves, Doctor continued. They formed bonds with horses, creatures that could easily trample them to death. They bonded with elephants, one of the largest land animals on Earth. They even formed working relationships with birds of prey and dolphins. There seems to be no limit to their ability to form connections with other species. The footage returned to the military base on 442B. This time, it showed the soldiers preparing for their mission against the raiders. A human captain stood before his troops. Beside him sat 3 dogs of different sizes and breeds. "Listen up," the captain said. "Intel shows they have set up camp in the canyon system to the north. They think they are hidden. They think we cannot find them, but they have never met my friend here." He placed his hand on the head of a brown and black dog. "Scout has the best nose in the entire sector. He can smell chemical signatures from 2 kilometers away. They will not see us coming." The mission began. Human soldiers moved silently through the rocky terrain. The dogs moved with them, their senses far superior to any technology the Federation had ever developed. Scout, the tracking dog, led the group with his nose to the ground. 2 larger dogs flanked the soldiers, watching for threats. A small, fierce creature called a Belgian stayed close to the captain, ready to attack on command. The never had a chance. Scout found them easily. The raiders had hidden their camp well, using technology that blocked most sensors. But they could not hide their smell from a creature that had evolved over millions of years to track prey. When the battle began, the human-animal teams worked together with frightening efficiency. The dogs did not simply attack. They followed complex commands from their human partners. They flanked enemies, created distractions, and protected fallen soldiers until medical help arrived. One moment in the footage made Ambassador Hal close all 4 of his eyes. A human soldier had been shot and was lying on the ground, unable to move. A raider approached him with a weapon raised, ready to finish him off. The soldier's dog, a creature called Rex, did not hesitate. It launched itself at them with a fury that seemed impossible for its size. The raider screamed as the dog's jaws found his arm. Other soldiers arrived seconds later, but Rex did not let go until his human partner gave the command. "He saved my life," the wounded soldier said later in the footage, his hand resting on Rex's head. "He has saved my life 3 times now. I would die for him. I know he would die for me." Ambassador spoke up, her crystalline voice sharp with confusion. "This level of mutual loyalty between different species is unprecedented. Our scientists have studied tens of thousands of civilizations. We have never seen anything like this. How is it possible?" Doctor shook his head slowly. "We have a theory, but it frightens us. Earth is what we classify as a Class 12 death world. The environmental dangers there are extreme. Humans evolved alongside countless predators and deadly creatures. We believe that to survive, they developed an unusual psychological trait." He paused, gathering his courage before continuing. "Humans possess an almost unlimited capacity for forming social bonds. This ability extends beyond their own species. When a human decides that another creature is part of their group, they will protect that creature with their own lives. The creature becomes family, and humans, as we have learned, will do absolutely anything for their family." The council chamber fell silent. "There is more," Hal said quietly. "Show them the rest." New footage appeared. This showed human soldiers returning to their base after the mission. They were tired, dirty, and some were injured, but every single one of them made sure their animal companions were cared for first. Humans with bleeding wounds refused medical treatment until their dogs had been examined. Soldiers shared their water and food rations with the creatures. Some simply sat quietly with their animals, speaking softly to them. "We intercepted communications from the command," Hal explained. "They are terrified. They thought humans were dangerous enough alone, but humans with these creatures from their death world are something else entirely. They are already discussing surrender." Ambassador stood again, his mandibles clicking nervously. "What do we do with this information? These humans have proven themselves valuable allies, but this ability to form bonds with deadly creatures concerns me deeply. What if they turn these animals against us?" An old ambassador from a species called the raised her wrinkled hand. She had lived for over 600 years and had seen many strange things. "I have met humans," she said, her voice calm and wise. "I have studied their history and their psychology. I believe I understand them better than most of us." The chamber fell silent, waiting for her words. "Humans do not form these bonds to create weapons," she continued. "They form them because they are lonely. Their species evolved in a dangerous world where survival required cooperation. They did not just cooperate with each other. They reached out to other species, seeking connection and companionship." She smiled slightly, a gesture that looked strange on her ancient face. "We should not fear the humans or their creatures. We should learn from them. Every species in this federation keeps itself separate from others. We trade, we negotiate, we form alliances, but we do not truly connect. Humans look at a deadly predator and see a potential friend. They look at the galaxy and see billions of possible relationships waiting to be formed." The old ambassador's words hung in the air. Around the chamber, beings began to whisper among themselves. Hal thought about what he had seen. Yes, the humans were terrifying with their death world companions, but perhaps the old ambassador was right. Perhaps the most frightening thing about humans was not their capacity for violence. Perhaps it was their unlimited capacity for love. He watched the final moment of footage one more time. A human soldier, exhausted from battle, had fallen asleep in his bunk. His dog lay across his feet, protecting him even in sleep. The soldier's hand rested on the dog's back, and even unconscious, he was gently stroking the creature's fur. Two species from a death world, bound together by something that transcended biology and evolution. Hal realized that he had never seen anything more beautiful or more terrifying in all his years as an ambassador. The humans had not just brought soldiers to this war. They had brought love. And that love, combined with teeth and claws and billions of years of predatory evolution, was the most powerful weapon the galaxy had ever seen. The Federation would never look at Earth the same way again.